Well, hello, and welcome to the Legacy Insights podcast. And I am your host, Mov'n Mike. And welcome to episode number 6. Laid off, fired, quit, do this now. This is going to be an epic episode on the impact of the economy and what's actually taking place out there in the workplace, corporate America, AI, the effects that is having on the work force out there. So what you really need to know is going to be in this episode. So let me get going with this episode number 6. We're here to discuss legacy building, entrepreneurship, financial strategies that's going to guide you to your goals and dreams. Simply put, we're going to provide insight to get your mind and your money right. Okay, so my goal, the show's goal, is to assist you in becoming a better informed individual, entrepreneur, and financially free. So it's time to let's get smarter. All right, so episode 6, laid off, fired, quit. Do this now. Jumping right into this isn't about panic. It's about clarity. It's about control. It's about taking action and using practical steps, the legacy frameworks, how to get grounded. That's right, how to get grounded in the midst of chaos. You're looking for clarity out of chaos, in the chaos, right? So that's what we're going to be talking about and how we're going to resolve this. So I got my trusty show notes here, and we're going to jump right into this episode here with some clarity, okay, if you will. So first thing, when you have an incident like this, right? And I don't like to use the word problem. It's a life issue. When life be lifing, right? You've got to have a plan. There's always got to be something going on. There's always going to be something going on, and you've got to have a plan for when things go wrong, you can turn them around. So first thing you don't want to do is freak out. Oh my God, I've got bills. I've got the car note, the mortgage, the rent. How am I going to keep the children in daycare? Okay, while I look for another job or until I find another job, right? How am I going to keep food on the table, the bills paid, right? That's what we're talking about. Don't freak out. You got to get strategic. So here are some things that are going to help you stabilize your mind so that you can get your mind and your money right. So job loss, I'm just going to describe it. Job loss hits harder than most people expect because it attacks your identity, your security, and pride all at the same time. Now, I just want to stay there for a second. A job loss attacks your identity. Some of you are really, you defined yourself by the job and the role that you play and that you work in in your careers. So if you don't have that, who are you? And that identity piece is huge for a lot of people. If you don't have work, do you have a purpose? Some people look at identity in their relationships. Like, if I don't have this woman or this man in my life, who am I? If I don't have this family life, the kids, the dog, what is my purpose? So we're talking about not freaking out when those things go awry. So I told one of my past employers that I love my job and I love what I do, but it's not who I am. Okay? Because who I am, I really would like to be playing the piano and laying on the beach. That's it, or something artistic, right? But this is what I do, and I love what I do, but it's not who I am. So if money was not an issue, what would you be doing? Right? So that's that identity piece, right? Because what you do and who you are might be two different things for some of us, right? Other people tie that directly to their self-worth, their security, which is, you need a job, you need some income, right? You need some income. In my last episode, we were talking with D Love with Think Energy and in his program, in his training and background, he said that that the price and value of value. He said price is only an issue in the absence of value, right? And then when it comes to security, right, you got to have people need that. People need that security, right? And pride. People see pride, a position of pride, right? Like a manager, right? A title, okay? Yeah, it's okay, to be in charge, but are you really that person, right? Is it pride, right? So that's a whole nother show. We don't want to get into that right now, but people tie their employment, their position to pride and ego, security and identity, right? So all at once. But if they lose that, do they lose themselves? That's a question that you're going to have to answer. We're going to have to address in another episode. Before making any decisions, you must slow down and start to think about where you're at and what's going on around you. Do not act out of chaos, because what you're going to end up doing is making some serious financial mistakes. So let's talk about some key expansion points. Panic creates bad math. It just does. You're doing things, right? Like my kids say, you're doing too much, right? You're doing too much. Emotional decisions lead to overdrafts, early withdrawals, and long-term damage. Now, I have some friends that I've talked with and some associates that I've spoken with that have hit some hard times in the past. And what they did was they withdrew 401k, life insurance, cash accumulation, all to pay for things that are in the present or are currently addressing them, not thinking about what's coming, right? A bigger rainy day, or though the retirement funding, you're spending your retirement funding to take care of a crisis, a so-called crisis at the moment. Now they have nothing. Now they have nothing because they did not prepare while they were in the season of abundance, right? They just did not prepare because you just they would have all those niceties going on, right? So a crisis can bring about bad math, and panic creates bad math. This is not a character failure; it's an event and not your identity. So that's what I was just speaking to, right? What you do, your job is just what you do. It's not who you are, right? It's an event. It's something that you do. It's an event. You go to your job, it's an event. You go to work, it's an event, right? Because eventually you come home, right? You get out of that, or like or something, a tragedy or accident of some sort. It's an event. It will pass, but if you're prepared for it, you get through it a little bit easier. So I want you to take a 24 to 48 pause if something like this were to happen to you. And I really want those of you who are listening to this right now, call a friend, call 2 friends and tell them to log on to this episode, right? Because I, for one, know what it's like to lose employment. And I'm sure most of us do who are working adults know that there has been a change of jobs, sometimes unexpectedly, no fault of your own, right? And you had to make some adjustments. This is for those of you who know what I'm talking about. And those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, have not had the experience, this is something for you to put in your quiver, because when it does happen, you can pull it out. Okay, here we go. You want to pause for 24 to 72 hours. No major financial decisions, no moves, no social media scrolling, no I'll figure it out tomorrow, and avoidance either. Okay, so I don't want you to sit around like longer than that 72-hour period. right, to calm your nerves. Sit back, get a glass of wine, breathe, go to the gym, right? Just clear your head for that period of time before you act out on those issues that you may have, because they're not problems, they're events, right? And it will pass. Let's keep it going here. So I need you to write down some things. What just happened, and just the facts. Okay, not that, oh, my boss was a pain in the ass. Oh, if it wasn't for my coworker, it would have been a lot easier, right? If they didn't throw me under the bus. None of that, because I know corporate America. Been there a long time, and that's why I make sure that I have an entrepreneurial endeavor going on, so that if something were to come along my way, I'm not in a blank. Something for you to think about. That's pillar number 2. Elevate. You upskill. You actually get a side hustle, if you will, something that's going to bring in some income, preferably even while you sleep. Right? You have a system in place. We'll talk about that. That's another episode, right? And then after you write down what happened, just the facts, what is not true, I'm done, I'll never recover. Okay? See, because a lot of people will go into panic mode. Oh my God, especially those of you who believe your job is who you are, your identity and your security and your pride. Those type of people, okay, that's just who they are. I'm not pointing any fingers or making any fun of you, but what I'm saying is, don't believe that's true. You are more than your job, your position, and it's more than your identity. It's more than who you are. Okay, because if that were true, what about the jobs before? Were they you too? Right? Were those jobs and positions, were they you too? I don't think so. So let's keep this going here. You're not done, and you will recover from a job loss, from being replaced, being laid off, fired, or even having to walk out for your own personal safety, or you're not going to tolerate it, because no money is worth being demeaned or trampled over. No, that's not what it is. You're better than that. Okay, so let's talk about it. You're going to reclaim control by breathing, praying, journaling, or walking, whatever centers you. Right? See, because this is about you. This is about you reclaiming the person that you are, so that you can start to move forward. So that is the 6th pillar of the legacy framework. You. It all comes down to you and I. What do we do? If you lose yourself, the plan collapses. If you lose yourself, the plan collapses. That's why the 6 pillars of the legacy framework are so important. Okay, like I said, we're going to be dropping these 6 pillars for you, and the explanations and the exercises and how to stay focused. Okay, I need you to start taking personal inventory of all the monetary assets that you would have. Okay, so here we go. Know what you actually have before assuming you're broke. Okay, now it's a funny statement that I have to make about being broke, right? No one is ever broke. Not in today's life. No. Broke was a term they used a long time ago. I tell you I'm a 60s baby, but that was like the thing. Oh, I'm broke, man. I don't got nothing. That broke is a frame of mind. Okay? It's a place in your mind that you believe you are, right? But we're not broke. We're not broken. Okay? We might be misaligned, right? But what it is what I found out was we weren't broke. We were poor. Okay? It's 2 different things, right? Broken and poor are 2 different things. We didn't have money, assets, and access. That's poor, right? We weren't broken because we were able to pull ourselves up. Okay? See, if you were broken, you wouldn't be able to recover. Broken means you wouldn't be able to get through the situation that you're in to the next situation. Okay? So we're never broke. All right, let's just keep this going here. All right. So most people underestimate their financial runway because they only think about their checking account. What is your financial runway? How long can you survive if you were disconnected from your employer? What assets, liquid assets, do you have at your disposal to keep you afloat? I talked about it in the previous episodes about having a true emergency fund, not just money left over, okay, for these types of situations, being laid off, fired, or quit. These are the things that you need to do right now. Go to the Legacy Insights podcast on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Okay, there's a QR code there to take a financial assessment and overview. Learn some things, reaffirm some things in the financial space after you take that financial overview, so that you know how to keep your mind and get your money right. Okay, so here we go. I need you to expand your inventory besides your checking account to include your savings, right? I hope you have a savings. If you got a checking, you should have a savings or multiple savings accounts, okay? Preferably every time you get paid, that money goes directly into one checking account. The emergency fund goes into another account. You see where I'm going with this? So that you don't even have to touch it. You don't have to see it. It's just stacking on its own. I call raising your zero. That's another one of my strategies that I use, and I work with my people with, and to help them to put money away. Raising your zero is just a term I have for it. The practice and strategy means that every time you get paid, you still broke. Every time you get a windfall of money, guess what? You're still broke, or not having money. See, I use that word broke interchangeably, right? Not having money in your pocket. Okay, you're not broken, but I use that word broke to mean I don't have it to give away. And when people ask me for extra, no, I don't have any extra. I got what I got, right? Like people when I used to smoke, they say, "Hey, you got an extra cigarette?" I said, "No, I got 20. I don't have any extra in my pack." Right? I don't have any extra, right? So whenever you get some additional income, you're putting that away, right? You're never broke. So you gotta make sure that you add your emergency fund in that. I just talked about that. Cash value life insurance. Okay. So if you don't have a cash value life insurance policy, you need to consider that. Talk with your financial advisor. Reach out to me, hit me in the DM to talk about getting some cash value life insurance. Some people say, "Oh, we don't need life insurance." Well, I don't believe in life insurance. Well, guess what? Life insurance is not a religion. You don't have to believe in it. You just need it, right? Because it's an asset protecting tool. That's all this is. That's what we're talking about, being money minded, right? I say get your mind and your money right. I'm not saying for you not to invest in yourself or protect yourself and your family or protect all the things that you work for, because that's what cash value life insurance can do for you. While it protects all your assets, is growing for your retirement. And the great thing about cash value life insurance is that you cannot be sued or it taken from you in any type of lawsuit or divorce or anything like that. There's some strategies here, right? So if you heard that, tap in with me or go back to one of my previous episodes, the 20 advantages of an IUL policy. It's in season 1 of the Legacy Insights podcast, the 20 advantages of an IUL. Go check it out. Okay. There's one of the other things including your inventory is tax refund pending. So basically what you got last year is typically around the same, right? You know where that money's going, right into that second savings account. Side hustle income. I told you that's the second pillar. Elevate. Right? The side hustle income. Health savings accounts, flexible savings accounts balances, right? They're there for a reason. They can roll over and help you pay down some of those medical bills, right, that you've had. Severance packages. So if you've been laid off or fired, they might have provided some severance pay for you. Okay, don't touch that money for the first 24 to 72 hours, because you're thinking, you're getting your mind on in straight, right? You're moving from chaos to clarity. Okay, you need to have that separation time from financial decisions so that you keep doing the right thing. Okay, unused gift cards, credit cards, and refunds. Okay, these are things that you need to make an inventory of, right? So that you know where your assets are, and in case you can get to that point where your runway starts to shorten, right? So meaning that you might have more month than you do have money. Okay, so that's what we're talking about here. So here's some key moments for you. You're not looking to spend it all. You're calculating your time, right? So that's what I mean by your runway getting shorter, or how long is your runway, or having more month than your money, right? This is what you need to do is, as far as gathering your assets, make an inventory list of it and knowing what you can spend and where. Okay, you might put a little bit on a credit card. You might use the other part of cash, right? You might use a gift card instead of your cash or your credit cards, right? If you got a gift card, why are you spending your credit cards? Why are you using your cash, right? So we need to know what we have so we know where to use it. That's that financial IQ that I'm talking about here, right? I told you literacy is all gone, right? We left literacy in 2025. We're talking about financial IQ. You got to ask yourself, how many weeks or months can my current resources cover my essentials? That's that runway, okay? Right? See, I have all this in my head, right? But I need a flow to keep my notes so I can keep going here, because like it's all here, right? I just wanted to come out in a very legitimate and competent way so that you can digest this information and put it to use right away, because that's what this show's all about. Application, the financial IQ of strategies in contracts that we're going to talk about. So I'm going to go over pillar number 3, guard in the legacy framework. You can't protect what you haven't identified. Okay, so that's huge. You can't protect what you don't even know you have, or why you should protect it, right? Do you know its worth, right? You might have a whole bunch of stuff, right? But is it valuable to you? Can you turn it from this state into the next state? Meaning from its material state of a vase, or some, I know some sneakerheads out there, right? You've got a certain pair of Jordans in a certain edition, right? That's in the closet up on the shelf. You got laid off fire. Can you take those, put them online, and put a couple $100 in your pocket, right? We're going to start talking about, some of these money gathering strategies. But right now we're talking about guard, pillar number 3. Okay, so this is how you protect and identify some of those assets. All right, so we're going to review and create a survival budget. All right, so when you're guarding in pillar number 3, right? When you're guarding your assets, you're making sure that you've got life insurance. You're making sure that you've got your all your things saved in, your documents saved in the right place, right? They're in a safe, they're in a fireproof box. You made sure that you've got all your passwords to your accounts and credit cards in a safe place. You're guarding your assets, okay? And a lot of other things that you can think about doing to make sure that your money does not get taken or scammed out of it, right? Because right now you're looking to consolidate some things so that you can get that longer runway of time. Okay, so now we're talking about creating this survival budget. So yes, it's going to require to shrink your lifestyle, okay? Because you're creating time. You're stretching out that runway. You're making sure that your money gets to the end of the month. Okay, you don't want the other way around. Your month being longer than your money, right? You don't want that, because that can hurt you really bad. So here we go. This is not a forever budget. It's a temporary protection plan. So here's some key expansion points that we're going to touch on. You just got to separate your expenses into must-haves, the necessities, over the niceties. So the must-haves: housing, utilities, food, transportation, and insurance. Must-haves. You see how I included housing, utilities, food, transportation, and insurance. Must-have. These are not things that you could do without. You should not be going out without protection and the guarding. That's that pillar number 3, right? The nice to haves: subscriptions, dining out, entertainment, right? I know some people who never cook. So, and if you're eating well and healthy, as we should be, that's an expensive lifestyle, because you're guaranteed $150 to $200 a meal 5 nights a week. That's just dinner. That's just dinner. We're not talking about breakfast and lunch unless you're eating 1 meal a day. And even then that's expensive, because if you were to buy your groceries, you would be able to spend half that, $300-400, right? We already know that inflation is here, tariffs are here. All right, we got some tariffs got knocked down this past week by the Supreme Court, but he still imposed some additional tariffs. So prices are not coming down. They're not coming down, right? So we know that spending money out, eating out, is a serious dent in your money. Okay, so every dollar now has a job. Extend the runway. I tell you, your dollars must have a destination. You got to extend that runway, right? So we don't know how long the separation of employment is going to be. We don't know, unless even if you're in a high demand position right now, you may not be in demand, right? Because now the stock market is doing well, but the employers are saying we could do better. We could do a little bit more with less now, because the biggest expense an employer has is his employees. And with the AI is not coming; it's already here. They're cutting jobs. I mean, literally, I hear the rumors in the offices and in these different companies. They're saying that how they're looking for people to suggest what parts of their jobs can be automated. So you're asking employees to tell you, oh, this job that I do right here is repetitive. We can do this through Power BI or some macro in Excel, and or through AI that's going to run these systems and run these reports. Now that's one less thing I need to do. So why do you need to pay me even more? Come on now. You better start opening up your ears as well as your eyes. Okay, stop scrolling and start consuming information so that you know just where you are in life. Okay, so here we go. This is not a survival budget, right? This is not a survival budget. This is a protection plan. See, pride is expensive. Survival budgeting is strategic. Humiliation, not failure. Okay, I'm going to say that again. Pride is expensive. Survival budgeting is strategic humility, not failure. See, that's something you can go with every day. See, I'm not cheap. I'm frugal. I don't need to spend money all the time. I don't remember the last time I was in a mall. That's overpriced and that's just overpriced Walmart. Okay. You ever seen some of the quality of materials of the clothing that you buy in the mall? Are you kidding me? Because it has a name brand on it. It's just ridiculous. So that's what we're talking about here. So I'm going to encourage some bold action. You got to pause them subscriptions immediately. Like I said, I don't have cable television in my home. Nope. I got basic cable in my my Amazon, my Netflix, and even that now doesn't even have enough things to watch on TV. Crazy. I was paying almost $400 a month for 1,000 channels that I didn't even watch. Check your subscriptions. Make sure that things are not being charged. I mean, I even got Apple TV, right? I bought the little boxes so that I could pay for the box, and no matter where I go, I can always watch Apple TV. Okay, you got to be a little strategic. Got to be a little strategic about what you're doing. So you want to check all your subscriptions. Make sure that things are not just charging your card and you're wondering, you're not paying attention because it's just a couple of dollars. Well, that couple of dollars are making them millions, if not billions. Okay. Negotiate bills, internet, phone, and insurance. I go back to my phone carrier all the time. I've been with them over 20 years with one of my numbers. Okay. And I tell them all the time, listen, I've been with you guys this long. What can you do for me? Take into account my age and my time of service and subscription with you. What can you do me? What can you do me for? Right? Give me something. Give me something. Right? I've made you guys already rich. I've paid in 20 years. I've made you guys money. Right? Switch to cash or debit only during this phase. Right? Use those credit card, not the credit card, you know what I'm talking about. The cards that you get for Christmas, right? Gift cards. You want to make sure that you use all your gift cards. If you get a store discount card, right? I got a couple. I bought some shoes, and then we took them back to the store, right? And the shoes that we traded them out for were like $60 less, right? Because the other ones didn't fit right or whatever. I got a store credit. So guess what? Next time I go back into the store, I'm gonna use that store credit for my next pair of shoes. The next pair of shoes. That's what we're doing here. We're talking about stretching out that runway. Okay. So I'm going to ask you a quick question, and I phrased it earlier on, right? If your income stopped today, how long would it last? 60 days, 90 days, 120 days? How long could you survive on that runway? All the things that I've suggested already. That's the key. That's the key to having an emergency fund and knowing your assets, knowing your numbers, right? Just knowing your credit score is not enough. I told you, right? Financial literacy going in 2025 is financial IQ now, right? We need to step up our game here to make sure that we're aware of what's going on around us in our own homes, right? No more sports stats, right? You need to know what assets you have. What is your credit score? What are some of the things that are holding value around you? So here we go, right? This is pillar 1, learn. Financial awareness, and pillar 4, alignment. So that financial IQ that I'm speaking about means that you've got to apply the knowledge that you've learned. You got to learn it, then you got to apply it, right? And then you got to be in alignment with it. So what comes out your mouth, plus your actions and the strategy and plan to get to your goals and dreams. You want to know why people are frustrated, angry, disappointed, unhappy, right? They're poor because they don't have the money strategies. They're not using their money as a tool. They're in bad relationships. They're in bad situations because they're not in alignment. When you're not in alignment, you make bad money decisions. When you're not in alignment, you make bad choices for your life. Okay, I said there's 3 places most people live. That's in chaos, right? Crisis, comfort, but never run to success. There's some people who are living in success because they're in alignment. They're doing what they're saying. They're living out the strategies and the plans that they've laid out. They've got the action. They put it in action. Okay, so this is what we're talking about here. So that's pillar number 1, learn, and pillar number 4, alignment. You do these things from lifestyle to reality. Okay, Financial awareness is it to learn. Okay. Old inventory or expendable items for resale. So here we go. This is the fourth segment of our show. This is that side hustle, elevate type of move that you need to consider, right? And I get it, because I've got some things in storage. I've got things in the shed. I got some things in my closet, right? We know what we're talking about here, right? Turn clutter into cash fast. So let's talk about it. This is going to restore some momentum and some confidence. So we're going to dive into this, okay? We sit on, as consumers, we sit on hundreds, sometimes even thousands of dollars of things in our home, unused items. Can you think of a few? You should be able to. Just look around your house. You got old fishing poles. You got old bowling ball in the bag. You got some roller skates. You've got old skateboards, bicycles, tools, clothing, okay, furniture, right? If you got old appliances out in the garage, refrigerators, freezers, ACs, you're sitting on money, unused money, uncapitalized gain. Okay, think about it. You want to put a couple of extra $100 in your bank account, all right, or overfund some of your cash accumulation insurance IUL policies. You need a couple extra $100. Start going through your house and getting rid of some of those things, reselling some of those things. Okay, here we go. Electronics, tools, furniture, designer clothing, gym equipment. Oh, gym equipment. All right, we're into February right now, 2026. Everybody still got their gym membership or bought that Bowflex or that Weider power slide, right? Are you still using it? That treadmill, right? We still using it, or do we need to put it on? Was it the store online? Okay, Facebook Marketplace, right? Hey, you see it all the time, right? You see it all the time. This is not going backward. It's liquidating dormant assets. Okay, we're getting real about this thing, right? We're getting real about it. I just having a conversation about some things that I know that I've done, have, and that you can take advantage of. That's what this show is all about. Tap in with me at the Legacy Insights Podcast. Hit that subscribe button. Scan that QR code. Reach out to me. Say, hey, Mike, I like what you're talking about. Leave some comments in the comments section. Tell me what you like about what you're hearing, what you want to hear more of. Okay, is there something that you'd like to learn about products, services, life insurance, annuities, things of those nature? A little bit more advanced in focused material. We can talk about those things, but see, this is the getting your mind right part, right? I really love to have these conversations because guess what? People just they react rather than respond to life. If you just take a moment and don't pull the fire alarm, guess what? It just might be smoke from the neighbor's fire pit. Okay. You just gotta, sometimes you might just need to just like slide in there instead of just jumping on it, right? Just take your time. And that's what this show's all about. So tap in with me. Hit that subscribe button on the Legacy Insights podcast on YouTube. Okay? All right, here we go. So this is a mindset shift. You're not selling your future, you're buying time. Okay, that's what we're talking about here. That lifting out that runway. So we're going to pick 3 items to list within the next 48 hours. This is a call to action for you. Just find 3 items that you're going to get rid of for some kind of dollars. I don't care, $2, $3, $5, $10, right? You got something in your house of value that someone else is going to buy anyway. You can get rid of it and make a couple of dollars. You don't have to sell it at the actual price. right? It's extra income we're talking about here. Use local marketplaces for first for speed. Okay, cash goes toward essentials only. So that's the key. So once you start liquidating some of these assets, these unseen and untapped assets that are around your house, it only goes toward essentials, right? So, it's funny that talking about, getting your mind right and having your dollars having a destination and liquidating some things. I'm really looking at upgrading my equipment and my production, right, for our show, right? I want to bring you a better, more quality, more vibrant show, right? So I need to upgrade, right? So I need to do some things, get my mind and my money right, and spend money on necessities, the proper equipment, not overspending, right? So that I can bring a better show about, right? That's just what we're talking about here, right? Cash going to essentials, not just niceties, but essentials. So I want to tie in pillar 5, change. See, this is a reflection time. Adaptation beats resistance every time. So this is something for you to really think about. When in the 6 pillars, change is talking about elevating and getting your generational wealth together, right? Setting up your family, your children for the what's coming. Things are not going to get easier. I say it all the time. No one's coming to save us. We really need to tap into that, right? Become our own advocates, become our own generals, right? Lead our families and our friends and our neighborhoods in a better direction. Right? I tell you, I got this one guy, he's a rapper. He says, all the time, and it comes to mind. He said, the good news is you came a long way. The bad news is you went the wrong way. Right? So, wow, that says it all. Right? The good news is you came a long way. Bad news is you went the wrong way. Right? I'm gonna practice that, but you got the message, right? You got the message. Adaptation beats resistance every time. So I want you to consider upskilling and relaunch the job search when this thing happens to you. Right? And we don't know when it's coming. We just know that you need to be prepared for it. Instead of reacting, you can just respond to it, right? Because you've done all the preparation work, right? So that's what we're talking about. Elevation, not desperation. Once stability is addressed, it's time to look forward. So once you've done all these things that I've suggested that you do, take 24 to 72 hours to think through some things. Take inventory of your assets. Okay, know all of your checking accounts, your cash insurance, your savings accounts, checking accounts, life insurance policies. What's there, what's not there. Okay. Then once you know what your inventory is, then do you want to go out and turn some of those unforeseen assets that are sitting around your house into some cash, so you can lifting out that runway. You got more money than you got month. Okay. Now you want to start looking at moving on, right? Because now you've created a foundation that you can live on. Now you're talking about upskilling and start that job search again to get back out there, right? So do you have enough runway to take a couple of courses? Okay. Do you have enough time to find a new job, right? Because now you can pay your rent. You can keep the lights on, keep the internet on, so you can do job searches, right? That's what we're talking about here. Having time to do what you need to do to get back on your feet, right? So upskilling. You got to ask yourself, what skills are in demand? What certifications can be found quickly and easily? Okay. So it depends on the job that you're in. What role do you have, and what would accentuate that career and give you more skills to go back into that field. Maybe it might be time to reinvent yourself altogether. I constantly reinvent myself, constantly. Okay, I've told you the story of my life from the very first show. I started out as a home improvement contractor over 40 years ago, right? I didn't know a damn thing about construction, but I had to reinvent myself. I played sports in school, for God's sake, right? And then I had to learn how to use a hammer, screw gun, hang drywall, tape and finish, flooring, right? Electrical, framing. That's reinventing yourself, right? Now, getting into the workplace transitioning from an employee to an entrepreneur to a business owner. Okay, so that it took a mindset shift. Okay, so that's what we're talking about here, right? What skills are in demand in your career? What certifications can be earned quickly? Coursera, Excel, or Microsoft, all right? IT, okay? AI training, marketing skills, okay? What do you want to do? Right? Do you want to improve yourself in your current situation, or do you want to reinvent yourself completely? All right, so let's keep it going. So let's talk about short-term wins over long-term degrees. So that's those certifications, right? Employer-funded or low-cost programs, right? Even at the unemployment office, there's a place called One Stop, right? So for those of you who need to get back out there quickly, I don't know what type of jobs you're looking for, but One Stop has a department that can add. You can get some additional funding to go back to school. Okay, get trade, get certifications. Some are some type of low cost college credit courses, right? So you can add some more to your learning, right? So what you want to do is reframe that training and that mindset as income acceleration and not delay. So you really want to just do that so that you can start bumping yourself up quicker, right? Because there are a lot of people aren't thinking like this. They're in panic mode. I'm giving you the tools to get yourself situated so you can get back on your feet, so you can get back to living and earning, okay? So you want to update your resume after the emotion settles. I said that's 72 hours, right? And you've done some of these things that I've suggested. Then you want to start looking at your resume. There's a lot of people out there that do it on Fiverr, and professional resume writers, right? Upwork. There's a lot of places you can go look for work. LinkedIn. There's a lot of places you can go. Okay, so you want to target roles that match market demand, improve flexibility, or pay stability. Okay, so there you go. That's what we're talking about here, right? Matching market demand. You got to go out there and do your research. That's that first pillar, learn, right? There's marketable skills that what you were doing in the job that you were performing that you can transfer over to new positions. Don't think you're stuck in a silo, right? I told you, right? Your job is not who you are. It's not your true identity. It's what you do. It's not who you are. So you have qualities and skills that are transferable, right? I'm sure you've heard of it. Just put it to use now, because that change that we talked about is pivotal in becoming a better you, right? So change is about changing generational wealth. It's also changing your mindset about what you can do and what you should do, right? And what you're capable of, right? You got to start having some faith that you can do more, and you should, right? It's that growth. So here we go, right? Networking. I was always told that your network is your net worth. I have been networking these last couple of days, promoting the show and my outside business, okay, in the financial space, locking in new avenues, locking in new connections, okay, looking to do some really big things this spring. I'm telling you, we're going to be all over the place. This show is going to blow up. right? Helping people find their way, helping people, having these simple conversations, baseline conversations, just like this, to start moving people in the right direction. And then once they start moving in the right direction, we're going to start growing into the information. Okay. I've already talked with my mentors in leadership. Okay. That they're on standby. They're saying, Mike, listen, when you're ready, just give us a call. We're there for you. So things are going to be popping real soon. I'm looking forward to it. I'm telling you, hit that subscribe button. Make sure that you in that notification button. So when these episodes come out, all right, and these lives start to happening, you're going to be right there with us. Okay. And when we start showing you the times of these events, I want you to come out and share in with us, the experience of growth. All right. That's what we're talking about here. I'm so excited about this. I'm just ready to jump out my chair. All right. So networking, net worth, your network is your net worth. Networking beats applications. Remind listeners, right, the people that you're working around that know you're going through, these listeners that you have, that this is something that you're looking to do. Listen, they hear what you're going through, right? Tell people, hey, if you know somebody, tell them I'm looking, right? Yeah, tell them, right? People don't know what you're going through. A closed mouth does not get fed, all right? Say it with confidence, say it with commitment, right? This was where elevate, the second pillar, meets change, right? You've got to upskill. You got to tell people where you are. You got to have the courage to step into your change. You don't just recover, you reposition. All right. So people think that, you're down and out when you lose a job. Or listen, I remember I was being separated from a previous position a couple of years back, maybe 10 years back. Right. It wasn't clicking for me and for them. And they were like, they said, well, listen, Mike, we don't know if they were going in the right direction. And I told them, I said, I don't feel it going in the right direction either. I'm not afraid to step away from something that's not in my growth. Right. So I said, you know what? Thank you very much for the opportunity. On to the next one. And that's what I did. And then when I got to the next one, it was a better position than the one I left. Come on now. Come on now. We're better than what we believe. We've got more to offer than what you think you do. Come on. And people are looking for good people. Just be one of those good people. Okay? So I need you to enroll in a skill this week. I don't care what it is. Just find something that you did not know before or did not do before and get involved. Get involved. Even if it's like Duolingo, right? Learn some new words, right? Learn something so that you can actually start using it, right? And if it helps you get a job, even better, right? We're talking about self-improvement here, okay? Submit 5 intentional applications, not 50 desperate ones, okay? I know a lot of people do that. Oh my God, I gotta find a job. I gotta find a job. I just need a job, any job, right? If you're a manager, why are you applying for cook positions and waiters? Hoping that the waiter, the manager at that place leaves? Oh, hell no, he's not leaving. He needs his job too. And I've heard people say that, I'm getting this job, I'm gonna work my way up. To where? There's people already in, and they're probably younger than you are in that position. Why are they going to go? If they're already there, they're doing the same thing you're doing, elevating. They're going to work that position till the better one comes along. And if you don't have tenure and time in that job, guess what? Someone else who has been there longer than you is going to get that position over you. So 5 intentional applications and not 50 desperate ones. Okay, something to keep in your toolbox as well. Okay, here we go. You just don't recover, you reposition. So I just need you to know these last closing statements for you. Okay, job loss does not end a legacy; it reveals the gaps. So, in getting your mind and your money right, you've got to identify the gaps. That's why this show is so important. When you quit, get fired, or laid off, you've got to know your numbers. You got to know how much of a runway you have when it comes to your financial worth and your fortitude. You need to know these things. So if anything happens, you say, okay, I don't have to panic. I just have to reposition. I don't have to go into chaos when I already got some clarity about what to do. Okay, so that's what this says. It reveals the gaps, enforces growth. Right. So hey, as every time you go through something in life and you come out on the other side, you've grown in patience, in maturity, fortitude, right? Knowledge. You never fail in life. You only grow from it. Those experiences, good, bad, or indifferent. You are now a new creature because you have gone through what you needed to get to the other side. Come on, y'all. This is about growth. This show is about positivity, right? It's about growing your legacy. All right, here we go. It forces growth. Those who act with clarity, not fear, come out stronger, smarter, and more aligned. I love that word, alignment. I do. It forces me to look at me, right? I was with some pastors this past week. Oh man, the man in the mirror. The man in the mirror. You weren't laid off from your purpose. You were just redirected. You know, I'm just going to say this in closing. You know, it's truly a pleasure to do this show and bring you this information on a weekly basis. I am your host, Mov'n Mike, and I want to thank you for the privilege of your time. You could have been anywhere else, but you decided to spend it with me, sharing this information, taking it out. Share this episode with someone. Hopefully, they'll be able to apply it to get their mind and their money right. I'm your host, Mov'n Mike, and we're out.